So for this travelogue, I really wanted to dig deeper into something that I really have been focusing on recently, something that has been very prominent in my mind. So I really wanted to talk about Cavarero's article she writes on the voice. She has this article written called Echo, or on resonance, and it tells us the story of this nymph, this very, very young, talented, incredibly powerful and communicative nymph who has total control and command over language. The way she uses her words, the way she speaks, she can control a room just by opening her mouth, opening her lips, and letting her magic swoon and fill the air with her essence. And in this story, it's told that this nymph ends up being named Echo because she has to serve her penance for distracting the beautiful goddess Jupiter and Juno, and distracting Juno actually through her conversation. And through this allows Jupiter to be bettered by other nymphs. And in this telling of the story, the goddess is just so upset by being wronged that she ends up making Echo, this nymph, only be able to repeat the things that other people have said. You know, this idea really changes, I think, rhetoric in itself, because now she can only truly speak based on what has been told to her, and that is how she has to shape her lens and her voice. This idea of penance is what really, really stood out to me, and it really guided me into a thought of how does this outplay itself in other areas? How can I relate this into different concepts? So it really connected most closely when I was reading the Phaedrus by Plato on reincarnation, and this idea that we will go through these penalties, we will have these actions that we do in our life that we end up having to serve for, that we will have consequences down the road for. And it really reminded me of this rhetoric that has been placed, where we have created rhetoric and we've created these stories that are now forever in place, that go forward with us through time and shape themselves differently and take on maybe, yes, a different form, but forever have a consequence in our timeline, in our education, in our knowledge, and how we process from that moment forth. So it really got me to thinking of how the soul is mentioned in reincarnation to have exhibited this karmatic retribution. If a soul did wrong in one life, then in the next lifetime it's reincarnated, it's born again with a new body, that lifetime it would serve it and spend it learning that lesson over again, so that way it knows it and it gets it right. So that way it doesn't do that wronging again. For instance, they say that if you are an abusive partner, that in another lifetime you're going to be reborn as an animal that is abused in a home. Or, for instance, nowadays you can imagine a cow in the dairy industry. You know, you will endure a very painful experience as a living creature in order to right this wrong. It really just connected, I think, with this article and with this reading, and it's kind of where I'm at with processing. I think Cavarero would agree that this kind of karmatic retribution does exist in the soul. You know, that we see it in stories such as Echo, where things that were done, wrongings, have to be righted, and then they have to be learned from, or that rhetoric will follow us throughout history and beyond that.